Morning, gang. So, cold and snowy out, huh? Some of you guys got a foot plus of snow on the ground. Most of us, even down here in the deep south, are dealing with a huge cold spell. I mean, it's snowing here in Tennessee right now. So the thoughts of sitting on a beach, sipping a margarita, watching the waves roll in sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it? This is usually vacation planning time. Most people start looking at some sort of destination they can go just escape it all for a week or so around this time of year. Searches online for cruises and Caribbean vacations always seem to spike this time of year when we're all stuck indoors dreaming of some warmth and relaxation. Then, of course, there's COVID. Okay, there goes that idea. I guess we're all stuck just waiting for July for some warmth instead. And if you're landlocked like I am, the beach ain't happening. Okay. You see, if you live in Canada, you got a real nice surprise this weekend. Your illustrious Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, decided to put out one of his wonderful edicts. You always love how they put out bad news on a Friday night or over the weekend when they figure fewer people are paying attention. Trudeau has now put in place travel restrictions into and out of Canada. Not like anybody was looking for, a beach in the Great White North anyway, but you want to go south for a quick vacation? Nope. Trudeau has mandated that Air Canada, WestJet, Sunwing, Air Transat cancel all flights to Caribbean destinations and Mexico starting this past weekend until April 30th. Okay. Maybe you just hop across the border into the U.S. and go visit Detroit. Just kidding. Or Buffalo. It's okay. Where the hell would a Canadian go to come visit the United States, right? Forget it. Okay. Trudeau came out and said, in addition to the pre-boarding test that Canada also requires, the government is going to be mandating PCR testing at the airport for people returning to Canada. So if you do manage to leave and come back, you got to go through the test and everything like that. So, sure, you can go to the States, but if you want to come home, well, travelers then have to wait up to 3 days at an approved hotel. What does that sound like? I don't know. Barbed wire? Pick that one up. So waiting 3 days at an approved hotel for their test results at their own expense, which is expected to be more than $2,000. How much does a hotel cost in Canada? That's $700 a night. I wonder if there's any kickbacks going on. Those with negative test results will then be able to quarantine at home under significantly increased surveillance and enforcement. So I guess they're going to put a Mountie on everybody's doorstep to make sure you don't leave. Okay. All right. No biggie. You won't fly. You'll just drive, right? Hang on a second. In the coming weeks, Canada is going to be requiring non-essential travelers to show a negative test before entry at the land border to the United States. And they're working to stand up additional testing requirements for land travel, according to Trudeau. Now, Canada already requires those entering the country to self-isolate for 14 days and present a negative COVID-19 test taken within 3 days before arrival. So I guess your idea that U.S. vacation is going to be sitting in a hotel room ordering room service for 2 weeks. Okay, yeah. Now, remember, Trudeau is just one of those skinny jeans soy boys that wants to be part of the New World Order. Okay, that illustrious group that created the World Economic Forum, the one that wants to control the food, the land, and the one that told us you'll own nothing and be happy. Okay. Now, is anyone noticing a trend here? Worldwide. Okay. Travel is getting restricted everywhere. You can't go to Australia. You can't go to Europe. About the only place you can travel is across the southern U.S. border, and that's only if you're Hispanic and destitute and you're heading north. Okay. You see, this is the intent, and we've talked about it before. To restrict people's movements is a way to control them. Once people cannot move freely, they're much easier to dominate. If you can't escape a bad situation, you have no choice but to conform. Think about a cattle drive or moving any herd of livestock. You control the animals' movements and get them to do what you want them to do. That's exactly what's happening. We're being corralled, okay? The next thing we're certainly going to see is a move to drive the people toward the cities, which will become prisons, all right? Again, once the people are in a centralized location, they're much easier to control. How can they do this? That's simple, okay? Food. Stop supplying food to rural and suburban grocery stores and the people have to go to the cities to get food. Stop supplying anything to the outskirts and people have to go to the cities to get anything, be it lumber, clothing, gasoline, you name it. Eventually, the people will migrate toward where the goods and services are and self-imprison themselves. Anyone want to guess why Bill Gates and the Chinese are buying up so much rural land and farmland? Okay, the problem becomes that cities cannot house 330 million people, at least in the United States, or 37 million people in Canada, or whatever the population is in Australia, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that's solved by Gates's idea of depopulation. Are you seeing the picture yet? Okay, this isn't a COVID thing. This is a control thing, and they just aren't letting a crisis go to waste. The death rate wasn't high enough from COVID, so we got the vaccine. Too many people are refusing the vaccine, so they have to come up with something else. They decide panic is the best solution. Now, 99.7% of the people survive COVID. So what the governments have all decided to do is they need to tell people that there's a more mutant, stronger variation now, that will get them to conform. Okay? That's the thought of these so-called leaders. We're all expecting more and more lockdowns. We're already seeing them come about in different places, okay? It's a control thing, okay? Fortunately, at least in the United States, people aren't so enamored by the political elite as they are in so many other countries. We don't hang on their every word for guidance on what to do, okay? We're a free-thinking people, just like the Canucks, just like the Aussies, okay? Lately, there's been a reverse migration in free-thinking nations. People are actually leaving the cities and moving to the country. In the United States, in Canada, in Australia. Okay? People are reconnecting with nature and living the lifestyle and they're reconnecting with nature and the lifestyle of living rurally. Okay? You know, they want to be self-sufficient. They want to be free. That's driving people like Trudeau and the politicians in Washington, mostly Democrats, absolutely nuts, okay? Just look at the immigration patterns right now in the United States. People are leaving New York, they're leaving New Jersey, they're leaving California, they're leaving Illinois in droves. What do those states all have in common? Gee, they're a nice shade of blue, okay? Where are they going? Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Idaho. What do those all have in common? They have a nice shade of red. Okay, sure, some go to the cities in these red states, but a lot are moving further out, okay? And I mean, again, Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Boise, Idaho, very, very blue areas in a red state. Okay, but at least as of right now, our travel in the U.S. isn't being limited domestically, but I have a feeling that's going to change very soon, at least amongst the blue states, because they're going to have to do something to quell the population and hence the tax base loss. People keep moving out of the states start losing money, and oh my God, we've got to come up with more money. We have to raise taxes. Democrats never met a tax they couldn't hike. Okay. Basically, it comes down to this. The governments of the world have given up on representing the population. Okay. They're now only in it for themselves, for the power and for the wealth. They want it all. Then when they consolidate the power, if they were ever able to succeed at all this, when they consolidate the power into those few hundred people, they're going to begin to eat their own, as none of them will be happy with a slice of the pie. They're all going to want the whole pie. We've seen this in history. Does anyone think that if World War II would have gone the other way, that the Axis powers would have won, okay? That Germany and Japan wouldn't have eventually gone to war against each other? Okay. Hell, Hitler turned on Stalin. All right. This is what megalomaniacs do. They want total control. I don't know, George Soros, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Klaus Schwab, pick one of them, all right? Megalomaniacs. You see, we preppers, homesteaders, survivalists, whatever you want to call us, okay? We're the last bastion to a free society. We're the ones that won't fall into lockstep. We aren't glued to cell phones and Starbucks. We aren't dependent on other men for our livelihood. We don't need electric cars and the internet to survive. Sure, they're conveniences, but they're not needs like they are for such a large part of the population. Remember a month or so back when Google went down for about an hour? Okay, it was a worldwide mini panic. Imagine the whole internet went down for a week. Millennials would be suicidal, okay? This is where we are. We the people, we, the survivors, the preppers, the homesteaders, we actually hold the power. Not only in numbers, because there are more of us than there are them, even if you count all their henchmen, but because we have the ability to survive where they don't. That's what scares them the most, okay? They know they need the resources and the knowledge that we have, okay, because they don't have it themselves. Do you honestly think Joe Biden has planted a tomato in the last 50 years? Do you think Kamala Harris could start a fire? Do you think Justin Trudeau could clean a deer? Hardly, okay? They need us and they know it. The more we resist, the more it pisses them off because they know they can't survive without us, the people. They'll just never admit it publicly. I've said this many times. Liberals can't think past the tip of their nose. They come up with grandiose ideas but never contemplate the consequences of their actions. Never, okay? They're going to continue to try to restrict us, be it our movement, our rights, our freedoms, whatever, okay? What they've never thought about is the human spirit. That's what scares them the most because that's the one thing they will never be able to control. They may get close, but they'll never get 100% compliance. Some people just will not comply, okay? That, folks, is what makes us stronger than they could ever possibly aspire to. Remember that. It's gonna get a whole lot tougher out there than it is now, okay? Of that you can be certain. But we have to be tougher than they are. And we can, because we're the survivors. We're the ones that took the time to plan, to prep, to learn, and not to be reliant on them. Not everyone can say that, okay? The weak will perish. The strong will survive. We're the strong ones. Eventually, they will fall. Just a little bit for you guys this morning. Have a good Tuesday. Pinball out.